KREM 2 News at Noon begins now.
Lawmakers scrambling to get to Washington, D.C., where the House will be voting on the Senate bill later today. We have a look at the final steps that need to happen and when government functions are expected to return to normal.
We saw a bit of wet weather this morning. We will have more rain chances for the remainder of the week, and we're going to weave that into a Northern Lights forecast tonight.
And joining the fight against hunger, a Spokane business donating to local food banks. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 News at Noon. I'm Laura Papetti, and we are going to head outside to Thomas Pastrick. He is standing by in the Outdoor Weather Center. Thomas, what I really want to know is last night we were going to go look at Northern Lights, decided it was too cloudy, and then, of course, it ended up being spectacular. So what can we expect this afternoon and maybe later tonight?
I'll tell you what, Laura, I don't blame you, first of all, because two factors had to line up perfectly, and we are oh so lucky to have had a spectacular display. One, it was supposed to be just outright cloudy. We got a nice little hole in the cloud cover from about 7 to 10 o'clock last night. Plus, the Northern Lights themselves really overperformed their forecast, so it was even more impressive to begin with. And the pictures that we've been seeing from around the inland Northwest, and honestly the entire country for that matter, have been spectacular. And I've been loving every single one. We've been seeing so many of your photos. Please keep texting them in. I'm just loving to see that. Again, this was last night. But what about tonight? Well, usually solar storms tend to only last one day, but the strongest can sometimes give us an encore performance, and I do think that's where we're at for tonight. So there is actually a decent chance to have the aurora borealis at least active for this evening, even if it might not be as impressive as last night's display. The only problem, though, is the cloud cover. Like yesterday and last night, we're gonna need to get lucky again here. We need to find that hole in the clouds if we want to even see it in the first place. Honestly, the sun is just barely filtering through, but I would still call this overcast skies, and satellite would agree with me. I mean, this is just a blanket of thin-ish cloud cover, good enough for the sun to come through it, not good enough for the Northern Lights. That would be a little bit too dim to happen. But it is just cloudy, mostly calm, a little bit of rain out towards the Wenatchee area for right now. I don't think we actually see any more rain today. That'll be more of a tomorrow afternoon thing. So the good news is I'm not forecasting rain tonight. I think we might be hard-pressed to get the cloud cover to thin up a little bit more to see the Northern Lights. So never say never. We'll have the latest hour-by-hour details coming up.
The longest government shutdown in U.S. history could soon be over. The U.S. House is set to vote later today. CBS's Natalie Brand reporting even though Democratic leaders remain opposed, Republicans and the president have expressed confidence that they will have the support needed to pass. Difficulties with audio there. We will try to get back to that shortly. We are going to now talk about SNAP benefits. The Supreme Court is extending the pause on a judge's ruling ordering the administration to pay full benefits ahead of tonight's vote. One representative heading back to Washington, D.C. for the vote is Eastern Washington Representative Michael Bumgardner. We spoke with him to get his perspective on the shutdown.
There's a number of things we need to do in healthcare, but the answer isn't just to prop up the broken healthcare system. So we'll see what happens with that vote. I'm certainly willing to have those discussions. You know, I realize that there are, there are certain challenges to the system.
Meantime, Washington Senator Maria Cantwell posting on social media, she said, quote, "This bill doesn't address the core issue that millions of Americans will no longer be able to afford ACA insurance coverage next year." Now, recently, Cantwell shared a breakdown of how health care costs would change in each county, and the calculations are based on a married couple with a household income of $120,000 a year. So let's take a look. In both Spokane and Stevens counties, the price could triple from about $412 a month to more than $1,400. That's almost $12,000 more a year. Now in Whitman County, it could cost more than $10,000 more a year. And then Grant County could see some of the biggest increases in the state. Cantwell says prices could jump from about $262 a month to more than $1,400 a month.
We don't need to take votes on if we should donate food. We can just go do it. So we decided, hey, let's do it.
I love that. One Spokane business is helping by donating some of their profits to our local food banks. Galaxy Paint Solutions says they've noticed people, of course, in our community are going hungry, and the owner of the business has been there and says that they wanted to help. The business says for the month of November, they will donate $100 of food to local food banks for every $1,000 that they make on a job.
We love our community. We grew up here. We're just trying to make sure where the need is being met as best we can. We can only do so much.
They hope this brings some security to people who rely on food banks, and they hope others will also see this and step up to help. This is coming in new from the Capitol this afternoon. The congressional petition to release the Jeffrey Epstein files will have enough signatures to force a vote on the issue. And an incoming Democratic Congresswoman from Arizona providing the 218th signature. It could compel the release of the files, which the White House has been fighting for months. However, the measure won't likely become law because even if it passes the House, it would have to pass the Republican-led Senate and then be signed by President Trump, who has discouraged the effort. Spokane police did arrest a man in connection to a string of armed robberies. SPD says 45-year-old Justin McDowell was wearing a Halloween mask and robbed multiple stores with a shotgun. Between witness statements and some CCTV footage, officers were able to find and arrest McDowell in Hilliard. They booked him into the Spokane County Jail for 2 counts of first-degree robbery. He has a $50,000 bond. Scammers have found a new way to pick pockets using electronic communications. Coming up, how you can protect your wallet.